All right, let's get to previewing the NBA's wet dream. Steph versus LeBron. Two superstars. Defined basically the past 2 decades. They meet for another clash here beginning Tuesday night in San Francisco. First playoff meeting between Golden State and LA in 32 years, though the Warriors have played LeBron 4 times.
Wait a second. Say it again?
First time LA and Golden State have played in the playoffs in 32 years.
The playoffs. Yeah, the playoffs.
Yeah.
They played in the play-in.
Yeah, postseason, not playoffs. The Warriors have played LeBron 4 times in the finals over the past 8 seasons. But what's really wild about this matchup, as we show the offensive and defensive ratings from the regular season and what they did in the first round, is that in late February, the Warriors and Lakers were 9th and 13th in the Western Conference, respectively. And now one of them's going to the Western Conference Finals, for sure. What's one thing to watch in this series here that, again, the NBA must be just ecstatic about? This is probably going to set a whole bunch of records here, I would assume, ratings-wise, with the star power and the fan bases of these 2 teams. But
the one matchup, just to start with the stars, Anthony Davis and the star of the Golden State Warriors, Kevon Looney. Those two going at it. Just to see how Kevon Looney will wear down Anthony Davis over the course of a series and how Anthony Davis will keep up, because he was incredible against the Grizzlies defensively. He was a monster, erasing screw-up after screw-up on the perimeter, just blocking shots. The Grizzlies shot 30% in Game 6, and they went home. But Kevon Looney is a tough matchup, 320 rebound games against the Kings. That doesn't happen very often. First time in like 15 years that's happened in one series. And Anthony Davis has just got a very, very difficult matchup just to deal with that guy. But on the other side, the way Anthony Davis can beat Kevon Looney, whether it's a play-in game or a playoff series, I mean, he can use his finesse. He's faster. I wonder how far he'll shoot out, how far he'll take his range out in this series. But that's the matchup I'm just watching. How Davis is going to keep up if he can just continue to be a beast. I think it kind of just flies under the radar a little bit how great he was defensively. So him versus Looney. I mean, this is a guy in Kevon Looney that wasn't even starting for a part of the season. Maybe because Steve Kerr knew he wanted to keep him fresh, and he looks friggin' fresh going into, again, the stealing of rebounds, just the stealing of the ball. Will Davis be able to just match that energy level? And will Looney be able to keep it up? I guess that's a fair question. Just that. That's going to be the possession battle. And it's going to, I think, come down to those 2 dudes.
what are you watching, TK?
The biggest question for me is LeBron's health in this one. They haven't met in a playoff game in 5 seasons, and a lot has changed for LeBron. He does not look the same as he did in 2018, and there's really nowhere for him to hide in this series. It doesn't feel like, if he's in the starting lineup. Like, it's going to be Anthony Davis on Looney, most likely, right? Probably Draymond helping off of Jared Vanderbilt, roaming all over the place. LeBron's going to have to chase Andrew Wiggins around. That's a big ask for him. On the other side, is he going to be able to hunt down Steph Curry the way he used to in the past and control this series from the post the way we've seen so many times? He was not interested in that style of play at all in round 1 against the Grizzlies. He was kind of content to just hang on the perimeter, shoot threes, push and transition when his body was feeling right. But they need LeBron to be the second best player in this series. They need Anthony Davis to dominate the series to win. I really do think the way he did against Memphis. But LeBron has to be at least as good as Curry is. And he didn't look right in round 1 against the Grizzlies. Like, Dillon Brooks may have jeopardized his career with the way he trash-talked LeBron, but he was right about some stuff. LeBron doesn't play the way he used to. He just wants to take threes right now. Maybe he was just trying to save that for later on in the playoffs, but now's the series where they're absolutely going to need it.
Yeah, it definitely felt like at times LeBron at this point of his career is picking and choosing, when to like lock in, when to turn it on. Maybe he'll settle in those other instances, which he did. The 3-pointer has completely left him. I think he is going to have to hit some of these, or at least more of a higher clip in this series for them to beat the Warriors here. But yeah, how much of it is just LeBron looking at the chessboard, 10 steps ahead, thinking, I need to save as much as possible here for the next round, and AD's doing his part, and I'm getting like a 30-point game from D'Angelo Russell, and Rui was there early in that series, and he's like sort of letting these other guys chip in just enough to get by Grizzlies in 6. But I'm with you guys. AD versus Looney is going to be fun as hell, And it did go under the radar what Anthony Davis did. He averaged, maybe it's because he didn't average a ton of points, but 21 and 14, 49% shooting, 4.3 blocks per game, 1.3 steals, couple assists. I mean, that is dominant defensively against the Defensive Player of the Year in Jaren Jackson Jr. in that series. But yeah, Looney, he looks up for the task right now, man. Like, you know he's going to do work inside. We saw how he played Sabonis, but I feel a lot more comfortable with Anthony Davis shooting those, mid-range sort of jumpers there than I do about Sabonis.
Right. He'll take them.
He'll take them,
but they're only worth 2.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a problem because we know the Warriors are going to bomb from 3. And then you look at the starting lineup for the Lakers, it's going to be Davis, not a 3-point shooter. Vanderbilt will probably start early in this series. I imagine he's going to be unplayable as the series goes on, and Schroeder will be the starter there. And then LeBron, thus far, is a non-shooter.
Yeah.
So there's going to be 3 non-shooters, which leaves a lot of responsibility for D'Angelo Russell, for Austin Reeves. It's tough to create inside when there's 3 dudes just hanging out. And the Warriors, as we've seen in the past, they are flagrant about not guarding shooters. Like, Jared Vanderbilt's not going to see a defender on him for the first 2 games of this series, for the most part. If he can hit some threes, that'd be nice found money for LA.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if they do get him off the floor and just start to go with guards who can shoot, because the Warriors are going to sag, there's no doubt. And it'll be interesting to see if Anthony Davis decides to take a couple more threes in this series, because
That's fine.
Yeah,
if
but
you're the Warriors, that's totally fine.
Sure. He hasn't hit it since really in the postseason since they won the title. Back then, he was a 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
And it was a different game how he was able to spread out Looney and Green. And yeah, Green versus LeBron is going to be a primary matchup. I mean, that's going to happen a bunch over and over and over again. I'm sure the Lakers are going to be happy to let LeBron guard Draymond Green and get some rest on that end to some degree. But on the other end, is LeBron going to want to go into Looney and Draymond Green? Is he going to want to drive? Because even Green coming into this series, it's not quite a Dylan Brooks explicit comment, but he said LeBron's a different dude. I mean, he is playing off the ball more than he ever has. He literally said that. And yeah, he's a passer, and at the same time, like, LeBron knows this Warriors team too. So will he get up for it defensively? Is he going to be able to run ragged around screens and all that?
And they're going to wear him out. This series too, I believe it's every other night. There's
series,
no big gaps in this series.
0.
Because it's getting started so late.
Every other night.
It starts, and then every second night you got another game. And will that have an impact on the series? Especially maybe a LeBron in particular, or maybe not. X Factor, Trey. Let's start with you. Who is an X Factor in this one?
Straight up player X Factors. I think it's a guy on both sides who needs to have a better round 2 than they had round 1. D'Angelo Russell for the Lakers, Jordan Poole for the Warriors. Who's going to do less dumb stuff? It kind of comes down to who's not going to throw the game away for their team and make open shots, because they'll probably both get some looks. Definitely Russell is going to be getting some looks. It feels like he's a bit of a Ferris wheel himself. He'll have a 19-point game, and then he'll have a 3-point game. His turnovers are bad. It lets the Warriors get into transition where they thrive. Poole's turnovers, he has a lot of shooting turnovers, if we're being quite honest, where he just takes a dumb shot, it bounces way out because he's always taking threes. And then the Lakers are able to run. Lakers not a great half-court offense team, so anytime they can be in transition will be big. And then honestly, can either of these guys survive enough defensively that it's not killing you in a quarter? There are question marks for both Russell and for Poole. Monk pretty much outplayed Poole for the entirety of the Kings series, and that was a huge part of the way that the Kings were able to stay competitive. Russell, when he's hitting, he gives the Lakers something that they don't have. Creativity off the dribble and 3-point shooting. So those are a couple of dudes I'm keeping an eye on.
Yeah, Jordan Poole's fascinating here. I mean, he played very poorly in the Kings series.
Really bad.
He played one good game, maybe, and then some stinkers. His minutes dwindled down there as Kerr was like, all right, well, he's not giving us anything offensively. Let's go with defensive-minded guys. Let's go Gary Payton, whatever. But, Kerr will, of course, play him here. And he could have a bigger impact. I mean, he's obviously an explosive offensive player. I remember it wasn't that long ago we were like, this guy's doing Steph Curry-like things. But right now, and maybe it's locker room issues or frustration with minutes, he's out of whack right now. So he is a hell of an X factor. And D'Angelo Russell, I mean, I think it's either, I've said this before in the last series with the Grizzlies when I did pick the Lakers, it was like, it just needs to be, who's the third guy on any given night? Is it D'Angelo Russell? Is it Rui? Is it Schroeder? Is it Is there a Beasley game still somewhere? His sort of minutes are completely gone. That's what the Lakers are always looking for. Reeves has been pretty solid, and he's had like really high moments. So those are great ones though in Russell and Poole. Anyone else?
Well, yeah, I wonder if Russell's going to be able to stay on the floor at times. They're going to run him ragged. They're going to run him around a bunch of screens. I think you're going to see a lot of Dennis Schroeder because of that. They saw D'Angelo Russell up close and personal for half a season as a member of the Golden State Warriors. I think they're just going to try and take him out of the game as much as possible. D'Angelo Russell can make him pay on the other end. But I think we're going to see a lot of Schroeder. I think you could see some Troy Brown Jr. In this series guarding Klay Thompson because he's pretty good at navigating screens, and that's what the Warriors do. So the Lakers do have some options with their backcourt rotation, and I think the Lakers are going to play way bigger than the Sacramento Kings did. So we'll have to see what the Warriors do with their bench. Is Jonathan Kuminga going to be able to play? Maybe guard some LeBron minutes. I think that's a possibility. Be their sort of their Iguodala of the past and get some minutes there. But Wiggins is the X factor. Have you heard that before? Yeah, every series, the Lakers won their season series against the Warriors, and they're all post-trade deadline games. So there is something to take from those games. They just sagged. They guarded the Warriors, Curry and Klay, but Wiggins wasn't there, so they just sagged in the lane and defended the lane really well. Wiggins wasn't there for a couple of them, and Wiggins is going to have to be big, make them pay, make their bigs come out and try and guard them. So there's lots to be. This is a chess match. Lots to watch and be excited for. Rotations, sliding up, sliding down, sliding up, sliding down. And people think the Lakers are just a slow, big, plodding team. They can play fast. I know Bron doesn't want to necessarily play fast, but they did. It was the third fastest of the 8 series. The Lakers and Grizzlies was because they can run up and down. Bron doesn't want to, but the rest of them sort of can. So looking forward to how the coaches play this thing.
Prediction time. Dubs, Lakers. Where is Trey Kirby going?
Well, this is interesting here. I think the Warriors clearly have an advantage in the backcourt. They got Steph Curry. We just saw him have an awesome game. He had a 1-turnover game in a 50-point game. I'm winning this series, and you can't do anything about it. The turnovers are going to be huge. The Warriors, they do dumb stuff. They've been doing dumb stuff for nearly a decade at this point, and the Lakers just want to throw it back in their throats. But I don't know. I feel like it's going to be pretty hard for the Lakers to guard this Warriors team. Anthony Davis, I do think, can be an advantage for LA. He should be able to outplay Looney, but the effort Looney gives, the physicality, that could give Anthony Davis problems. We just saw Ja Morant and Desmond Bane completely light up the Lakers. They do not have perimeter defense. Warriors in 5.
Warriors
for
in
me.
5. Okay.
Woo!
It's a
Ric Flair.
Well, it is true. Desmond Bane was running around screens, and he was comfortable. He had a lot of space against that Lakers team. The Warriors are by far the team that uses off-ball screens the most in the NBA and have for nearly a decade. And they do it very, very well. And Klay's going to have some good shooting nights, even though he had a stanky in Game 7. Curry's going to have some big shooting nights. I think Poole will feel better and be able to have a good shooting night as well. So big advantage there. And I think they just won't be able to guard this team. And the question is, will the Lakers bigs be able to wear down this Warriors team? But I think that a lot is going to be on Green and Kevon Looney. They're going to size up, and Kuminga is going to play a bunch. But I do think the Warriors' offense is going to be too much. I think it's 6. I'll go Warriors in 6.
As they were currently constructed, when you consider all the injuries, talking about Memphis, which team was better? The Memphis Grizzlies or the Sacramento Kings, in your opinion?
I think, the Kings played better, for sure.
So you would go them?
Yeah.
I agree with that. Although the Grizzlies, put up a little bit of a fight, missing a couple bigs, but I'm leaning Warriors in 6 as well in this one. Now, part of it is no doubt we just saw what Steph Curry did. And you're like, well, he could do that a couple more times. And you said, Trey, earlier on here in this podcast, there's a reason why we just come down to who's the best player in the series. Now, what's fascinating about it is there is LeBron James on the other side. Hell, it could be Anthony Davis, as we talked him up here. But, man, Curry right now, does he have a couple more of those in him? I think so in this series. And they've had success before. Obviously against LeBron-led teams, got them once, but I think they're going to do it for that would be fourth time basically here. I'll go Warriors in 6 in what is going to be a fun-ass series that is going to have a lot of people watching. Let's hear from you guys, though. One thing to watch, X Factors, predictions in the end, Warriors-Lakers in the second round. This isn't even the conference finals, for crying out loud. Who you got? Let us know in the comments below.